got in your mouth? That feels sanitary. So it is our big planting day out here at the Old Drive plot. All of our summer annuals are going in on this farm this year. We are saving as much as the bed space at the Green Door Gardens plot as possible for Dahlia tubers. We are going to be putting some Dahlia tubers in the hoop house here in the hope that I can extend the season out a little bit longer. So the team is here. We've been working really hard this morning. They've gotten actually a lot planted already. We've gotten so far some larkspur in the ground. We've gotten all the asters in the ground, and then they're working right now on setting up the landscape fabric so that we can get the cosmos and the zinnias in the ground next. So things are finally starting to green up here. They're looking really good. And time-lapse time. Okay, so the plan for behind me here in the hoop house, so this, I always forget just how enormous this hoop house is. Like, it's huge, right? We still have to get plastic on it. Oh, look. I got bit. We still have to get plastic on it, and they do need to frame in the sides, but the goal in here is that we're going to be doing dahlias down the center, and then we are going to be doing fall plantings of ranunculus on the outskirts here. And then we have a second part of the hoop house, which we are going to be building like just on this side here. And this is going to be where we are going to have our tulips that we're going to be pushing earlier next year. So we got lots to do this summer on the farm. I'm excited. This feels like a growth year for us just overall. And like, don't get me wrong, I love the store. I'm super excited about the store. But my passion personally is definitely the farming side of the flower farmer florist life. And so part of what I'm doing this year is training new staff to be able to manage and work the shop. So it gives me the freedom to come here and work the farm. One of the things I don't talk about a lot on the channel, but I think it's important to note, is that you don't see a lot of my husband on the channel. So he's been on mental health disability from work for since Joseph was born, so almost 6 years now. And he was diagnosed with like very serious depression and anxiety a long time ago. And so we've been blessed that he's been able to take leave through his insurance. But I think long term, like, we're also realizing like the implications of mental health, you know, on the life that we need to lead, kind of alongside of having Joseph. And so the farming life works for us for a number of reasons. But the biggest one that I'm hoping we're going to be able to see is just an improvement with my husband. So he's a trained mechanical engineer. While he's very good at it, he can no longer like micromanage and do those fine tasks that he used to, because the anxiety, the ADHD, the depression that he's now been diagnosed with as an adult has kind of like removed that focus that he used to have. And also the anxiety around our child's, like, you know, life-limiting diagnoses has really restructured the way we've looked at our lives going forward. And so flowers has really been a blessing in that way. But I'm also hoping that as he's participating a little bit more in doing some of the farm work this year, I'm starting to see a change a little bit in his demeanor as well. So one of my long-term goals, or at least my goals for the farm, but also for the YouTube channel, is that I very much would like to see this kind of supplement the disability. I would like to see him be able to work something again that gives him meaning and hope and purpose, because the farm saved me. Really, it did. It's hard when you get a diagnosis like Joseph's to find hope, I think, from the day to day. And so it's a little bit kind of about why this has all started to exist. So yeah, the next task, sideline, the next task that's going to happen this week is we need to weed out the peony patch, because we're starting to see buds coming at the top. Now I know we're not supposed to harvest them their first year, but I kind of wanna, because you know what, they're not going anywhere, so they'll be fine. If we have some blooms that we can take off of them the first year, I think we probably will. Otherwise, this is another thing that we got to do, because the farm work just never ends. Jen's the only one here who wears proper PPE. Because the girl worked in archaeology for years.
Different kind of trenches.
But she's really good with a hoe. And a rake, apparently.
You just see me with a shovel.
Oh. We're out of hoses, and the pump's at the other end of the farm. The seedlings are dry, so this is me makeshifting a way to water. Ready for this? Whee! They all need water. Is this one of my smarter ideas? Probably not. Is it getting the job done? I mean, I'm gonna go with yes. 1 tray done, 8 more to go. So miraculously, we're all very dirty, but we did get everything in the ground that had to go in the ground today. and it's just everything. So this was the feverfew and the larkspur over here that was planted a couple weeks ago. It's looking really good, but we got everything in today. We were hoping to get in. So the girls planted almost 3,000 seedlings today, if not more. Sunflowers went in. Dahlia tubers are starting to go in. It's nice to feel a little bit more caught up. I know I was feeling really stressed because it was kind of like, well, we're behind because we had to get the store done. But now it kind of feels real and we are catching up. And it's always surreal seeing everything kind of get in place in May and then watching it grow through June and July. And oh, my throat mustache is good. Oh well, farming, right? So what are we checking for?
If they're dead, vertigo, if they have eyes or not.
How many buckets of dahlias are there still at home?
Too many.
I don't mean to just complain about the weather all the time, but so we went last week from having like very seasonal, like 23, 24 degrees, which is pretty normal from May, to now it is like 30 degrees Celsius, which is quite above what the normal is. And we have no rain in the forecast for the next 2 weeks. And so the priority then here, one, we have to get the dahlia tubers in, which these two over here, wave, have been working at all day today. But the priority now is to get everybody in because, as we all know, dahlia tubers need 120 days in order to develop good tubers for the fall. So we got to get those in. So they're about halfway through. We have probably another 30-ish full rows, which is between 50 to 75 tubers in each row. So it's a lot of tubers yet that have to go into the ground. And then a whole bottom bed of propagates and seedlings that have to go in. So it is a bit of a hustle this year. You know, we talked a little bit earlier when we were planting the old drive plot about how we're just very behind on farm chores this year because we have been getting the store set up, and now that that's kind of like eased into its day-to-day, the priorities kind of focus back on getting all of the stuff in on the farms. But it just feels like the climate's working against us this year, and I feel like no matter how much we plan for just the change that we're going to see in the climate here in Southwestern Ontario, I feel like we're just not fully prepared for what that's going to be like. You know, it is the last couple days of May, and it's 30 degrees outside, and it's hot. It is like July hot here right now, and it does concern me a little bit. You know, Alberta in Canada is on fire right now, and parts of Nova Scotia are on fire, and we're here in Ontario, so we're removed from that, but we still feel the effects, you know, in air quality from both sides. And just knowing that all of this heat is happening and it's so dry and it's already May. You know, we had all that rain in April and we were so behind, and now we're so dry again. The field is dry. It hurts to walk on the sand because it's so hot, and it's just, I feel like it's just an uphill battle this year. I'm not sure if we're prepared for how climate change is going to, you know, shift our practices on the farm. And so this year, as we do think about, you know, the long-term goals for Green Bee, we have to start incorporating some of these I don't know, contingencies into the way that we're farming, and it's not an easy thing to do. So right now, at least we're going to keep getting the Dahlia tubers in. We have a much more efficient system this year as well. Faith has been adding flags where all of the individual varieties change, which is much easier than us trying to like use our little bitty popsicle sticks, which we've done in years past. And we've just been finding that lots of things have been getting, you know, mixed around. So now we're paying a little bit more attention to like where the tubers are going, and hopefully in the future we won't have half a bed of miscellaneous tubers which need to be dealt with this year. So onwards and upwards.
What do you want me to say?
So what have you been working on today?
Tubers. Planting all of them.
Okay, and how's that going?
It's hot. It's so hot. And there's a lot of them.
How many? How many do you guess?
Thousands.
That's a good estimation.
I don't know.
Blush anemones here. These are a variety called Rosa Chiaro. These came from Unicorn Blooms, and as far as I know, I think I'm one of the only flower farmers growing this variety, and it's turned out to be really popular for us for a couple of different reasons. One, this really beautiful veining on the inside of those petals is just so unreal. And two, some of them come out as more like a lighter blush color, and florists are really loving these for weddings. So I have a wholesale order for these today, going out to our supplier for about 15 of these. So I've got about 7 here and pick the rest. I have been working on getting the wholesale order ready to go for one of our partner florists. There is a lot of ranunculus and anemones going there. So I've gotten this first bucket ready to go. I have about another 5 bunches of ranunculus that I need to bunch yet. Then I also have to pick more anemones tomorrow that we're going to be sending out there as well. I like this time of year, but I do definitely think that this weather, the heat that we're getting right now, is probably going to just completely end our ranunculus season by the end of this week. Anemones will probably keep going. They're in a spot where they get afternoon shade, so they should be okay. But it's sad to see it happen, I think, 2 weeks earlier than we were expecting, especially as our outdoor cropped ranunculus are just getting started. But you know what? It's the farming life, and unfortunately, you can't win it all, but you can do your best, and that's really all you can do, right? So I'm gonna put these in the cooler, and we'll finish this order out. that's it for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody enjoys their week. Stay cool where you are, and happy flower farming.